Hey everyone, another development update. I think this is number 3 now. We have returned from Las Vegas. If my voice sounds a little different and maybe a little more funny than usually, that is because I came back with COVID. I feel like a lot of people did, but luckily no big deal. Just a little bit of a cough and a little bit of a runny nose, but that's about it. In Las Vegas for DEF CON, for B-Sides. I personally skipped Black Hat, but I was there the whole week. Met a lot of people, and most importantly, I think for nzyme, is that both the B-Sides Las Vegas crew as well as the knock at DEF CON was running nzyme, or the very early kind of nzyme alpha release, some snapshot releases over there on site. I was super excited for that because I think that is probably one of the most hostile Wi-Fi environments that you can find. It's also super busy, and it's some real professionals who are running it. So I was looking forward to see how nzyme performs. I was looking forward to see if it crashes. Like you're going to get some real garbage data going over the air there. What it would detect, and just kind of generally the experience of the people who would run it, because that was very much some of the first people who would deploy it in kind of a real world use case scenario. And first of all, thanks to everyone who ran it. I hope I was helpful, and I hope I was helpful with kind of being on site and help a little out wherever I could. But it turns out that, first of all, I think the installation went pretty well. There were multiple Raspberry Pis who were running the taps, and then the nodes were running on a slightly larger server. That's also the architecture that I would kind of generally recommend. I think the feedback overall was that the taps are already running insanely stable. I know that at B-Sites, we just spun those up. There was 4 Raspberry Pis, and they just kept on running. I think at one point a vendor table unplugged it, so unplugged the power from one of the taps. So that one didn't survive it, obviously, but we restarted it, came back right away. And I saw that even the Raspberry Pi 3s, so some of the older models, were running at like 80 megabytes for the taps of memory, and then a total CPU utilization of like between 1.5 and maybe 5% or so. That was in a pretty busy environment. I think we saw up to 1,500 clients, and then a few hundred access points spinning up a few hundred SSIDs. So super happy about that. Still, of course, a lot of work to be done, but I think that's very promising so far. On the node side, so these servers that are receiving the data from the taps. So that was the one that I was most concerned about, because that one honestly is doing most of the data, and that's doing most of the really complex stuff. And yeah, we found a pretty severe performance issue in there. I was able to kind of mitigate it on site with a new snapshot release, but there was still some work to be done in how the alerting works. Basically, the alerting worked for that version that was deployed there. The alerting was basically scanning regularly the database to see if there's anything suspicious in there. And that turned out to be just to be slow. That's fine. That's one of these things that you learn from these first deployments. So I've rewritten that now. It's going to work closer to real time. So it's going to look at the tab reports when they're coming in to see if there's anything unusual or anything that should be alerted on in the data that the tabs are reporting. That's already done. My computer right here is already running that. Still some work to be done around the alerts, but I think overall we're in pretty good shape. The other thing was something that I was really looking forward to, is to see when people start to use this thing, how that is actually going to work out, right? Doesn't make any sense. Are the alerts in the right place where they should be? Is the table with the BSSIDs, where you click on it and then the SSIDs show up on all their channels? Does that make any sense? What's confusing? Where do people get stuck? And we found a ton of stuff, and that's fantastic. So a ton of new tickets, ton of new work to be done. And again, thank you very much for everyone who's been using it. That also includes all the people who are already using the Alpha 0.1 that's out there, because your feedback is also being translated into a lot of tickets. And I think you're seeing that. So please, again, everyone, start to download the Alpha 0.1, start to play around with it, and then just leave feedback. See what doesn't work, see what doesn't make sense, and join the Discord, join the community forums, all that good stuff. I made notes this time, so I don't forget anything. But I think that's it for DEF CON and for Vegas. In general, kind of for version 2.0, I would say Wi-Fi, it's a German accent. I would say Wi-Fi is probably 75% done for 2.0. Especially the stuff that has been re-implemented from 1.0, pretty far along. It showed some real value in Vegas, where we detected some interesting stuff there. So let's say that's a 75%. My plan is to finish Wi-Fi entirely, and then at least for 2.0. I mean, that's never really done. And then switch over step by step and start to work on the Ethernet functionality. Cool thing is that this work that has now happened for Wi-Fi, that already implemented a lot of things that will be required for the Ethernet side. That includes, for example, the alerting engine, right? Triggering alerts, re-triggering alerts, all the management of that. That's something that the whole Ethernet detection will be able to kind of build upon once it's there. And I think that also means that Alpha 0.2 should be coming within a few days. We don't set hard release dates. I keep on mentioning that. Honestly, it's ready when it's ready. But we try to find a good release cadence and have things ready and then release them. I think the release process so far has shown to be working somewhat. Still, I think some things to improve, especially on the documentation, some of the installation docs, all of that. But I think you can expect an Alpha 0.2 pretty quickly. And the upgrade from Alpha 0.1 will be mostly seamless. I think right now my release changelog shows that it will delete your existing network monitoring config, because that, through the change to real time, has just changed massively in the database. And instead of writing a bunch of migrations for that, it just removes all of them, changes the database schema, so you would have to set them up one more time. But everything else should just be a dpkg-i with a new package, restart the thing, and then you're going to be on Alpha 0.2. And I think that's going to be the experience from the alphas to the betas to the release candidates to the finals, hopefully soon. So that's it. That's all I have in my notes. If you have any questions, this is also going to be a blog post on the website. If you only see the video, there's a blog post, and the blog post is also going to have a bunch of screenshots. I'll try to add some to this video. Can't promise it, but I think there's going to be some. And yeah, if you have questions, please reach out on Discord, the community forums. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Mastodon. So keep on hacking. There's more stuff coming. I'm excited.